The Live Stream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Good evening and welcome to the Good Stuff Live. My name is Dave Sundstrom, and if you enjoy talking about music, movies, mostly TV from decades gone by, you've come to the right place. So tonight it's all about 1984. And here's what I have planned for us over the course of the next hour. We're going to talk about just some things that happened in 1984, particularly in the United States. You know, who was president, how much things cost, that kind of stuff. Then we're going to talk a little bit about music. Then we'll talk a little bit about movies. You know, we'll share memories of 1984 in the world of music, the world of movies, and then, of course, the world of television. Along the way, I'll share some vintage TV commercials. And then when we get done with all that stuff, yes, it's going to be a whirlwind hour. When we get done with all of that stuff, we're going to go ahead and give away an annual subscription to Remind Magazine. I just got my June issue of Remind Magazine, and it's all about summer blockbusters. It is a heck of an issue. And you know what? If we can get your information to the good folks at Remind Magazine quick enough, you may get that copy in the mail. If not, then you're going to get the July-August issue. I think it's a combined issue. But one lucky person is going to get an annual subscription to Remind Magazine tonight. And then we're going to play, we're not going to do full-on trivia tonight, but I've got 5 classic TV questions that I'll ask you just to kind of wrap things up for the evening. And then, of course, we'll have Fred sing us on out of here. But that's a long ways away. We've got a lot to do. So I want to welcome all the folks that are here so far. So let me go into the comments section. I say comments, I should say chat. Let me go into the chat and see who's been hanging out. Lots of folks have been here. We got Melina Long hanging out, talking about notable deaths that year. Let's see. Channel member Angela McArdle is here. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, Angela, and thanks for all your support as a channel member. Kenneth Wilkinson is here. Lance Chaffin is here. Let's see who else we have. John Phantom, welcome to the live stream tonight. Redfish 73, great to have you hanging out with us this evening. Hope you're ready to talk about 1984. You were 11 back then. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Who else is in the chat visiting? Did I say hello to Superplex? I don't think I have. He said hello to Lance and Angela and Kenneth and everyone else. So great to have you here, channel member Superplex. Appreciated your comments on the latest channel members only video, which will go live for everyone on Wednesday morning, by the way. Dave Thomas, welcome to the live stream. Angela is using her milestone message, really not saying anything, but it's a reminder to me that she has been a member for going on, well, for 25 months now. So over 2 years. Thank you so much for your support, Angela. Always, always appreciated. Channel member Tracy Roth-Myers is here. Hello, Tracy. Grayman Media, welcome. Gary Carpenter, good to have you here with us. Julie Evans, welcome, welcome. Always a treat to have you hanging out with us this evening. Let's see. Jules is here, was 19 in 1984. And folks, I may miss a chat or two. If I do, I'm sorry. Well, I'm going to miss a bunch tonight because we're going to be focusing on other things. But I promise not to miss any super chats. I promise not to miss any milestone messages. Hello, Lauren. Channel member Tracy Roth-Myers uses her milestone message to say hello. Hello, Tracy. Always good to see you. A member for 43 months. Holy cow. Holy cow, Tracy. And we've got Ward Arcade here as well. Hey, stay a few minutes or stay as long as you can. Stay a while. There's a video game that I played a lot in, I think it was called Impossible Mission, where it would say, stay forever. Great game. Anyway, I'm meandering here, rambling on. I think that's everybody. I think I've said hello to everybody in the chat. And no, I can't believe it's been over 40 years since 1984, Ward. Crazy, huh? Crazy stuff. All right, as promised, let's do a little talking about 1984. Let's take a trip back in time to 1984. I'm going to share a little bit of info with you for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to share the first batch of vintage commercials, and then I'll be right back because I'd love to have you share some memories with me. How about we take a trip back for just a couple of minutes to 1984 and think back to what life was like in the United States back then. Ronald Reagan was in the White House, and the country was home to about 236 million people. It was a time of big hair, bold fashion, and the rise of the blockbuster movie. Speaking of which, heading to the cinema to see films like Ghostbusters or The Terminator would have set you back about $3.35 per ticket. Economically, things were pretty darn different. The federal minimum wage back then was $3.35 an hour. That's what I was making. And the average family income was around $26,000 for the entire year. If you were looking to buy a new home, the average price of a new house was somewhere in the range of $75,000 to $80,000. And a brand new car would have cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of $8,000. Everyday expenses were on a different scale too. A dozen eggs from the grocery store would have been about $1. And it was a world on the cusp of major technological change. We're about 5 years away from the digital age, well, at least the birth of the digital age that we live in today. Imagine a time before the internet, before smartphones, when mixtapes were the ultimate romantic gesture and logging on wasn't yet a daily activity.
Tuesday.
Lieutenant Burke!
It's Jack's chance to put Vicky's father behind bars.
This is ridiculous. Officer?
Three's the crowd. And how will Tony and Angela handle a night alone?
We can sleep in the morning.
Who's the boss?
Have some more wine.
Then at 9, 8 Central, the laughter continues when Robert Guillaume and Emmanuel Lewis host the all-new World's Funniest Commercial Goose. All starting at 8, 7 Central. Tuesday.
Real back. Real back. Real back. The battery, the power pack. Real back. We give you the power.
Panasonic introduces a new lightweight video system that's so automatic it works by itself. The camera focuses by itself. It even records in low light all by itself. This Panasonic VHS recorder connects almost by itself and plays back with special effects. This Panasonic through your stereo creates hi-fi sound that stands out by itself. Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
Remember when the most wanted gift was electric trains with switches? An erector set with a motor. A chemistry set with a Bunsen burner. Now it's computers with disk drives and printers. Isn't it wonderful you can give a computer as powerful as the Commodore 64 for a price as low as the Commodore 64?
Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Chip.
What a lucky kid. A Commodore 64 for Christmas. I'll tell you, the Commodore computers were fantastic during the 80s, right? You had the VIC-20 first, and then the Commodore 64, and then my favorite personal computer of all time, the one that I still love with all my heart, the Commodore Amiga. Just loved that PC. It's what really got me excited about technology. So what are some of your favorite memories? We're not talking about music, movies, or TV yet, but just generally, what are some of your favorite memories about 1984? I'm going to go ahead and read a few of them if you are willing to share. And I will be on the lookout here. I see folks saying hello to each other. Love the camaraderie. Love the camaraderie. But let's get some 1984, some just broad general memories about 1984. Were you, in 1984, I was 2 years removed from high school, struggling in college. I just really didn't have the discipline and the willpower to do very well in college when I was 20 years old. 1984, yes, Superplex, channel member Superplex, I should say, was an election year, and it was the year that we saw Ronald Reagan reelected to another 4 years. Channel member Angela McArdle says that they were 9 and taking their first airplane ride to Denver in 1984. Jules was out for a year and went to beauty school. Well, I hope you did better in beauty school than I did at the local community college, Jules, because what I really excelled in at the local community college, it was Salt Lake Community College, was cafeteria. Really good at cafeteria. And I also did very well at hanging out in the break area and watching the big screen TV because they had MTV on all day long. That's what I did when I took the bus to college, and my parents thought I was in class. Let's see. Make sure we got some folks being wish a birthday. Julie Evans is having a birthday. That's great. Jules says, my first time I got to vote. Yes, we would have been old enough to vote, wouldn't we have, Jules? Gary Carpenter says, I just started high school. Go East Gaston Warriors. Nice. David Thomas says, I also had some problems with college in 1984, so I dropped out. I ended up dropping out as well. Some of you that know my backstory is I, in 1985, went and served a mission for the LDS Church for 2 years in Barcelona, Spain. Let's see. And I came back, and I was a much more disciplined and better student afterwards. So it was good for me to do something different for a little while. Let's see. Channel member Tracy Rothmeyers was 17 in 1984, and Leicester's Mate 2 was 10 in 1984. Let's see. Two Beer joined the military at 18. I'm guessing that you were, that was 1984. Adulting is tough. Adulting is really tough. Still is. Gray Man Media. It was the fall that I attended preschool. You're a youngin', aren't you, Gray Man? Jeff Adams was 20 in 1984. Ward Arcade was in college and started his first full-time job, their first full-time job. Let's see. Dolph Quick says the downside of making a mixtape from a radio from the radio is the DJ's constant interruptions. Yeah, I hated that when they talk over the end of a song, that kind of thing. Channel member Tracy Roth Myers was a junior in high school. Old Farm Show, hello. Channel member Superplex was 27. Ward Arcade wants to know if I learned Catalan when I was in Barcelona. I could understand Catalan, but I never really learned it. I actually spent more time in the Valencia, Elche, Cartagena region. So I only spent a couple months of my mission, my LDS mission, in the Barcelona proper, where they do speak Catalan. I also spent some time up in Pamplona. That's, of course, where they do the running of the bulls. Hey, Sakina, good to have you here. Lance Chaffin was in Hawaii in 1984. How cool is that? It took me a long time to get to Hawaii. Kenneth Wilkinson was 21 in 84. Karen Lee moved up to Washington State in 84 for 28 years. It's a beautiful state. My oldest son, Spencer, lives up in Washington, and I really love going up and visiting him because he's my son, but it's also a beautiful country up there. Yep, it's tough to be a grown-up. Joe Black says 1984 was all about the second British invasion. Yeah, we were getting lots of great music from over in the UK. And BK says, what a stellar year for motion pictures. Just too many to mention, but I'm going to try in just a little bit, Barry. And we really need to figure out a way to get you back on a live stream with me. Look for me to text you and the Retro Palooza gang after this live stream. Let's see what else we've got here. John Phantom says, I was 15 in 1984, bored on St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. 15? I can think of worse place to be when you're 15. And channel member Angela McArdle says, there's times I don't feel like adulting. Yeah, I hear you. I still don't sometimes. Grayman Media says the Colts left Baltimore in 1984. And Radlinks 444 was last year in high school before going to pharmacy school. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Enough of that, because we got to talk about music, and we've got to talk about movies, and we've got to talk about TV, of course, and we've got trivia, and we've got a magazine subscription to give away. So let's do it. Let's move on to movies. And then let's move on to music first, because I want you to share your music memories. But first, I've got a friend. His name's Cedric, and he's going to talk about the top 10 albums of 1984. Cedric, take it away, my friend.
Ever wonder what the soundtrack to 1984 was? According to Billboard's year-end chart, it was a year of pop royalty, rock anthems, and iconic movie music. Let's take a trip down memory lane and count down the 10 albums that ruled the airwaves. Starting our countdown at number 10 is Duran Duran's stylish and synth-heavy Seven and the Ragged Tiger, which cemented their status as new wave icons. Dancing its way to number 9 was the chart-topping soundtrack to Footloose, which proved movies could deliver some of the year's best music. Coming in at 8 was The Police's final studio album, the brilliant and complex Synchronicity. Rock and roll had a strong showing in the top 10. At 7, we have ZZ Top's synth-infused blues rock on Eliminator, followed by Van Halen's explosive 1984 at number 6. The vibrant and soulful Color by Numbers by Culture Club, fronted by the charismatic Boy George, landed at 5. The top 4 are true classics. At number 4, Billy Joel took us back with An Innocent Man, a tribute to the doo-wop and soul of his youth. The third spot went to Lionel Richie's Can't Slow Down, a masterclass in smooth R&B. Just missing the top spot at number 2 was Huey Lewis and the News with Sports, an album packed with catchy, feel-good rock. And the number 1 album of 1984? Unsurprisingly, it was Michael Jackson's monumental Thriller. Even though it was released in late 1982, its incredible, world-conquering run made it the best-selling album of the year. What a time for music.
What a time indeed. Thanks, Cedric. Superplex, you are sharp. Cedric is an AI avatar. I just didn't have there's a lot of me in tonight's live stream, and I thought I'd share a little time with my buddy, Cedric the AI Avatar. I love experimenting with that stuff, but the good news is I wrote everything Cedric said myself. All right, so now is the question for all of you. What was your favorite album of 1984? Was it Sports? Was it the, Michael Jackson's Thriller, which just wouldn't go away, hadn't gone away since 1982? All right, I'm going to start looking at comments right now. Let's see. Favorite albums from 1984. What's your favorite? Radlinks 444 says Thriller. Channel member Angela McArdle, they say Thriller as well. Redfish Tech 73 says the Thriller video was epic. Let's see. Favorite albums. Lance Chaffin says Sports and Eliminator. I love both of those albums, but for me, 1984 by Van Halen is probably my favorite from that year. Let's see. Did Pyromania come out in 84? It wasn't in the top 10. When did Pyromania come out? I'm going to look that up real quick. I want to say it's an 83 album. It is an 83 album. It was released on January 20th, 1983. Fantastic album. Still would not supplant, for me, 1984 by Van Halen. Let's see. Channel member Tracy Roth-Meyer says the Culture Club album. Gray Man Media says the first Run DMC album. Lance Chaffin says we might as well jump. Indeed, we might. Let's see. Johnny Burnett says, in terms of singles, Jump by Van Halen. Oh, yeah. Great album. I had it, Joe. Joe Black says Seven and the Ragged Tiger by Duran Duran. It may have came out in 83, but it was in the top 10 albums for 1984. Let's see. Redfish Tex 73 says, I have 3/4 of the list on music disc. I have most of them on CD as well. I mean, they're the top 10 albums of the year. If you're a music fan, you're likely to have many of these albums. Let's see. Kenneth Wilkinson he just discovered the Beatles in 84. C. Jones says I did a pretty good job with Cedric, Dave. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I had a lot of fun putting that together. I want to use AI sparingly, but it certainly is a valuable tool when you are a YouTube creator such as myself and you're doing live streams and you want to, you're on for a full hour. It's great to be able to hand it over to someone else, even if they are an AI avatar for a couple minutes. Let's see. MTV, yes, came out in 81, correct. Jason Goldtrap also loved Seven and the Ragged Tiger by Duran Duran, indeed. Released in 83, but was in the top 10 most popular albums as certified by Billboard in 1984. Radlinks 444 says, born in the USA. Karen Lee says, first time I heard Eddie and the Cruisers. What a great movie that was, though. And that's John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. Jeff Adams says, Van Halen 1984. Yeah, great album. Channel member Superplex says, to tell the truth, I'm an old fogey. I stopped listening after Carole King's Tapestry. I just picked that up on LP not too long ago. What a wonderful album that is. Mark Innes says, great thing about 1984 is we still had top 40 AM radio for a few more years until about 1991. Yeah. Redfish Tech 73 says, that Van Halen album is the rock standard. So good. Yeah, so many great tracks on that album. Oh, Jeff Adams points out that Talking Heads Stop Making Sense was popular in 84. And channel member Angela McArdle points out the Ghostbusters soundtrack was awesome as well. I think We Are the World, did that come out in 84 or 85? I want to say 85. That's when all the Live Aid stuff happened. I thought it was December of 1984 that Bob Geldof Midyear wrote the Do They Know It's Christmas song, and it was released by Band Aid, and then we saw the We Are the World stuff in early 85 after that. Jules says Love Shack, B-52. Oh, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relax. How can you not love that song? And Two Tribes. When two tribes go to war, money is all that you can score. Yes, Angela. Channel member Angela McArdle points out that Culture Club was great too. Loved them. Amy B. It was the Color by Numbers album that came out in 84. I think Cedric mentioned it earlier. And Amy B. points out the Footloose soundtrack. Yeah, good one. Good one. Julie Evans says, I love all those albums everybody mentioned. I can't pick a favorite. Just love 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s music. Great time for music for sure. Jeff Adams says the B-52s were good. Let's see. And channel member Tracy Roth-Myers agrees about the Talking Heads. Yeah, Melina, the AI dude didn't mention Born in the USA because Born in the USA wasn't a top 10 album in 1984. Let's see. Mark Innes points out that Ghostbusters was huge that year. Indeed, they were. We'll talk more about Ghostbusters in a bit, about just how huge that movie was. Let's see. DMZ Veteran says Jump. Jeff Adams points out the Pretenders were going strong in 84. Let's see. Hey, it's Music Girl 67. Channel member Ms. Elizabeth says hello there and good evening to Dave and everyone in the chat. Late getting in as always, but hoping you're all doing fantastically well. Oh boy, this sounds like my kind of topic. Well, we're just kind of wrapping up the music piece of it. So if you have a favorite album of 1984, please feel free to share it, Ms. Elizabeth. Let's see. I'm scrolling down. Oh, yeah. What a great song, When Doves Cry. is Prince's #1 hit from the Purple Rain soundtrack. Sakina McMurran points out the Flashdance came out in '84. Willie Bowen says Duran Duran had the Reflex video. Dolph Quick says, did the Police break up in '84? Right around there. Synchronicity was their swan song. They released a greatest hits album with a new recording of Don't Stand So Close to Me, but really Synchronicity in '84 was their swan song. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Gray Man Media. The Heat is On by Eagles founder Glenn Fry. Let's see. Stevie Ray Vaughan deserves some honorable mentions, as our friend Jeff Adams. Let's see. Oh, here's an interesting memory. Lister's Mate 2 says, my local roller skating rink showed the Thriller video when it came out. They showed it on the back wall of the roller skating rink, and we all skated around watching and listening. It was so cool. Well, it was a very cool video, and I can only imagine that with roller skating, it even gets cooler. Channel member Music Girl 67 says the #1 song this week back in 1984 was Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time. I adore that song. Redfish Tech 73 says Phil Collins, Against All Odds. And Julie Evans points out The Purple Rain was a great song and album by Prince, for sure. All right, I think we're going to stop right there. And we're going to move on because we have got a tight schedule tonight. A tight schedule. We're going to move on to movies. And Cedric isn't going to be here. But I think I will invite pre-recorded Dave Sundstrom to talk about the top 10 movies of 1984. And then I'll get your take. What a year 1984 was for movies. If you were a film fan, you were spoiled for choice with a lineup of now classic films that really have stood the test of time. From ghost-busting shenanigans to a karate-chopping underdog, the box office was buzzing with iconic stories and characters. Let's take a trip down memory lane and count down the top 10 highest-grossing films that everyone was talking about in 1984. At number 10, we've got Splash. Kicking off our list is the charming fantasy romance that made a big splash with audiences. This movie had Tom Hanks falling in love with a mermaid played by Daryl Hannah. This sweet and funny tale from director Ron Howard, one of my favorite guys, proved that love can be found in the most unexpected of places. Number 9. The Final Frontier had a strong showing this year. Following the dramatic events of the previous film, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, the search for Spock saw Admiral Kirk and his loyal crew risk everything to bring back their beloved friend, proving that the needs of the one sometimes can indeed outweigh the needs of the many. At number 8, we've got Romancing the Stone. Audiences were hungry for adventure, and this film really delivered. You've got Kathleen Turner as a timid romance novelist whose life imitates her art when she's thrown into a real-life treasure hunt in the Colombian jungle, with the roguish Jack T. Colton, played by a perfectly cast Michael Douglas, by her side. The film was a wonderful blend of action, comedy, and romance. Okay, Kevin Bacon fans, yep, here we are, number 7, Footloose. Getting audiences to kick off their Sunday shoes was what this movie was all about. Kevin Bacon danced his way into our hearts as Ren McCormick, the city kid who moves to a small town, filmed in Utah. I know I don't think they ever say, but a small town where dancing and rock music have been banned. With a killer soundtrack and an infectious spirit, this movie dared a generation to dance. Number 6 is Police Academy. Yeah, that movie was filled with madcap antics and, lots of fun. When a new mayoral decree opens the police force up to anyone, a flood of misfit recruits turned the academy upside down. This ensemble comedy, which was led by a favorite of mine, Steve Guttenberg, became a staple of 80s humor and launched a franchise that kept us laughing for years. All right, here's the top 5. At number 5, we've got The Karate Kid. Everyone knows this story. It's a true underdog story that captured the hearts of millions and taught us all about wax on, Wax Off, and The Power of Inner Strength. Ralph Macchio's Daniel LaRusso, under the wise tutelage of Mr. Miyagi, played by Pat Morita, faced his bullies and gave us a climactic crane kick that is forever etched in cinematic history. Number 4, we've got Gremlins, just in time for the summer, although set at Christmas time. We were introduced to some mischievous and terrifying creatures. This unique horror comedy warned us of 3 crucial rules for handling a mogwai. Don't expose it to light, don't let it get wet, and never, ever, ever feed it after midnight. Of course, the rules are broken, leading to gleeful town-destroying chaos. At number 3, we have Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Harrison Ford reprised his role as the swashbuckling archaeologist Indiana Jones for this thrilling and slightly darker, did I say slightly? Much darker adventure. This time, Indy ventured into the depths of India to retrieve a mystical stone. Director Steven Spielberg delivered a roller coaster of excitement with spectacular action sequences that left audiences, including yours truly, breathless. At number 2, Beverly Hills Cop. The holiday season of 1984 was indeed dominated by Eddie Murphy's fast-talking, rule-bending Detroit detective Axel Foley. When Foley takes his investigation to the upscale world of Beverly Hills, his hilarious culture clash with the local police force cemented Murphy's status as a major movie star. And finally, the number 1 hit of 1984. Who you gonna call? The answer's obvious, as the supernatural comedy phenomenon Ghostbusters took the top spot. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson strapped on proton packs to save New York City from a paranormal invasion. With its perfect blend of humor, action, and a ridiculously catchy theme song, Ghostbusters wasn't just the biggest movie of the year. It became a cultural touchstone for an entire generation. It really did. I love that movie. I think I probably saw Ghostbusters, I don't know, 5 or 6 times in the movie theater. I loved it so much. I just thought Bill Murray was so funny. Of course, Aykroyd, Ramis, Hudson, Potts. Just a great cast. A really great cast. All right, now it's your turn. Share with me your favorite movie of 1984. Or maybe a movie that was underrated that didn't get mentioned in the top 10 list. And not all favorite movies have to be, a blockbuster hit, right? All right, let's see what we've got here. Channel member Angela McArdle says Ghostbusters, Beverly Hills Cop, Gremlins, Police Academy, Splash, Footloose. So a lot of the top 10 hits there. Julie Evans remembers all the Gremlins merchandise. And Redfish Tech 73 says, we watched Ghostbusters too much. We snapped the VHS tape. John E. Burnett points out the first PG-13 rated movie came out in August of 1984, Red Dawn. Let's see. I spoke about this movie in a video a couple of weeks ago. The movie that Dave spoke about in a video very recently, Supergirl, was released in November of 1984. Oh my goodness, no. Megaforce. That movie is so bad, it's fun. That's at least the way that I look at that particular film. Sakina McMurrin says Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks. Grayman Media points out what a great movie. Terminator, the original, James Cameron's original Terminator, came out in 84. Dolph Quick says Gremlins, and Gary Carpenter agrees that Ghostbusters was great and also thinks that Supergirl was great. And Adrian James says, man, just 1984 was so awesome. Bub SMPR says 16 Candles, and the DMC veteran, yes, I did see it. I saw it along with you, DMZ. Hard Bodies came out in 1984. Grayman Media says Breaking Tube, Electric Boogaloo, and Redfish Tech 73 agrees that was a fantastic movie. Let's see what else we got here. Cindy says 84 was such a fantastic year. And Lister's Mate 2 asks if The Neverending Story came out in 1984. Oh, I don't know. Let's look it up. Lister's Mate 2, Never Ending Story. Yes, it did. Came out in 1984. Good call. Let's see. Radlinks says that there's a lot of original movies back then versus right now. Yeah, there were more original movies. Now Hollywood seems to rely a lot on sequels and, existing IP. Channel member Tracy Rothmeyer says that they loved the John Hughes movies. Jeff Adams says, I saw Terminator and Red Dawn at the theater. The DMZ veteran enjoyed The Killing Fields. I found it an interesting movie. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but you didn't say that either. So I'm putting words in your mouth. Music Girl channel member Music Girl 67, Ms. Elizabeth says, keeping it music related, hard to hold with Rick Springfield. Got the soundtrack. Breakin', Purple Rain, and my favorite, Music Girl. Music Girl. What a great movie. Streets of Fire. Yes, with all those wonderful Jim Steinman songs. Loved it. Mama Pink's channel member, Mama Pink says, Police Academy. And hey, channel member Joshua Stanbro is here. He says, Sonny, miss you, bud. 1984 was a great year. My bro was born then. And yeah, it had to be a special year for you for sure. I hope all is going well with you. I was thinking about you the other day and need to touch base with you and find out how the big move is working for you or working out for you. And thanks for hanging out with us a little bit tonight. Appreciate it, Josh. All right. Willie Bowen says Lady in Red. Yeah, with Gene Wilder. Commander Kane, a.k.a. Paul R., says another great 1984 movie was Never Ending Story with Noah Hathaway in it. Let's see. Channel member Mama Pinks agrees that Purple Rain was awesome, and Gray Man Media says Amadeus. There's a critic favorite, right? The critics love that movie, and it did so well at the Oscars. I don't know what movie you're talking about right there. Never Got to Ride Falcor? I'm not sure what that is. The Natural was a good movie, as Jeff Adams points out. Two Beer says Terminator and Red Dawn for me. Let's see. Top Secret came out in 1984, points out channel member Superplex. Ferris Bueller came out in 1985, I believe, Gary. And Jeff Adams says that Spinal Tap, directed by the great Rob Reiner, is a classic. I totally agree. Let's see what else we got. Top Secret with Val Kilmer, rest in peace. Yeah, great movie, lots of fun. Zuperkini asked if Back to the Future came out in 1984. I want to say that's a 1985 movie too, but I could be wrong. Maybe it was the Christmas season of 1984, but I think it was 85. Hey, Tom, good to have you with us today. Adrian James points out that Dune was a thing back in 1984. I thought that was 85 or 86 too, but yeah, could be. Very well could be. It's a long time ago, that's for sure. DMZ Veteran. Oh, there's a great movie. The Last Starfighter. Listeners Mate 2 says, I didn't know it came out in 84, but when I was a kid, I saw Attack of the Killer Tomatoes at a drive-in in the summer of 84. I love that movie. Fun movie. I watched that on VHS many times. Willie Bowen says, Once Upon a Time in America. And channel member Music Girl 67 says, the original Nightmare on Elm Street came out in the autumn of 84. Johnny Depp was in that movie. Frightening moviegoers out of their socks, indeed. Indeed. And Gray Man Media points out that The Woman in Red gave us the song by Stevie Wonder, I Just Called to Say I Love You. All right, we're going to have to wrap it up right there for our movie comments. Sorry if I missed folks. Kind of happens. But we've got to keep moving along because we've got a lot of stuff to cover still. We've got TV shows to talk about. And I've got a couple more vintage commercials. We're going to give away the Remind Magazine subscription, and then we're going to play some trivia. How are we going to do it all in 20 minutes? I don't know, but we're going to do our very best. So let's get talking about top TV shows, popular TV shows in 1984. The 1984 television season was a time when family sitcoms, glamorous dramas, and high-octane action shows ruled the airwaves. Millions tuned in weekly to catch the latest installment of their favorite programs. Let's travel back in time and count down the top 10 television shows that captivated America. Kicking off our list is a tie for the 10th spot. Falcon Crest indulged viewers in the dramatic power struggles of a wealthy family running a California winery. Sharing the rank was the new detective series Crazy Like a Fox, which charmed audiences with its comedic tale of a free-spirited private investigator and his buttoned-up attorney son. Just ahead at number 9 was the CBS primetime soap Knots Landing. Originally a Dallas spin-off, the show had firmly established its own identity, captivating a loyal audience with the dramatic lives and loves of its suburban cul-de-sac residents. Number 8, Murder, She Wrote. A brilliant new entry for CBS, Angela Lansbury became an instant icon as Jessica Fletcher, a mystery writer and amateur sleuth whose sharp intellect always solved the case in the cozy coastal town of Cabot Cove, Maine. CBS continued its strong showing with Simon & Simon at number 7. This light-hearted detective series centered on two brothers with completely opposite approaches to private investigation, creating a perfect blend of action and comedic friction. Number 6. The A-Team. Audiences loved it when a plan came together. This action-packed series about a team of ex-Special Forces soldiers working as mercenaries was a thrilling, explosive hit with viewers. Number 5. Family Ties. Capturing the spirit of the 1980s, this sitcom's brilliant premise, pitting ex-hippie parents against their conservative Reagan-era children, delivered laughs and heartwarming moments in equal measure. Number 4. 60 Minutes. Proving the power of investigative journalism, the show's in-depth reports and hard-hitting interviews made it essential Sunday night viewing. Number 3. The Cosby Show. In one of the most successful debuts in television history, this groundbreaking sitcom about the upper-middle-class Huxtable family was celebrated for its warm humor and positive portrayal of family life, instantly becoming a cultural phenomenon. Number 2. Dallas. The Ewing family saga continued to dominate the national conversation. Millions tuned in for the backstabbing, betrayals, and business dealings of the Texas oil tycoons. And crowning our list as the number 1 show in America was ABC's Dynasty. With a staggering 25.0 rating, the opulent and over-the-top drama of the wealthy Carrington and Colby families, filled with shoulder pads, catfights, and corporate intrigue, was the undisputed ratings champion of the 1984-1985 season. All right, I'm back. A little delayed there in the return to the screen. But hey, I wanted to, Mama Pinks used her milestone message, and I wanted to make sure that I read it out loud. She said, "Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. I can't stay, but I wanted to say hello, and I miss y'all. Thanks, Dave, for all you do." Well, thank you for all you do. 41 months as a supporting channel member here on YouTube. And I can't tell you, words can't describe how appreciative I am of all my channel members, folks that go out of their way to support this channel on a monthly basis. We're truly, truly appreciated. So thank you, Mama Pinks. Go ahead and take that off the screen. Now the question is, favorite TV show from 1984. Let's hear about it. I'm going to scroll down and get caught up. Let's see. We'll start right here with Listener's Mate 2, who says, I was playing favorite TV show was just favorite TV thing, the Atari 2600, which they were playing a lot of in 1984. Channel member Angela McCarville says the A-Team, naturally. Murder, She Wrote, Magnum P.I., Crazy Like a Fox, among so many. Too many to list. Robert Vance says Hardy Boys, Incredible Hulk, Battlestar Galactica. Those shows were off. A lot of those were off the air by 1984, but they are great shows. Adrian James says, love the A-Team. Willie Bowen says, I did not love the A-Team. And let's see what else we've got here. Redfish Tech 73 says, I love the A-Team. And Night Court just started. Indeed, it did. Commander Kane, a.k.a. Paul R., says, Riptide with the Screaming Mimi Helicopter. And yes, my voice was quite deep there because it wasn't my voice. But it was an experiment using my voice with AI, and I'm not incredibly pleased with it. I don't think I'll do it again. Let's see. Knots Landing debuted in 1979, but it was among the top 10 most popular shows in 1984. Thanks, Willie. Thanks for pointing that out. Let's see. David Thomas says Cosby was a favorite in my family. I also enjoyed Murder, She Wrote and A-Team. Let's see. Sakina McMurrin says, I love the Golden Girls and Family Ties, Dynasty, Falcon Crest, The Cosby Show, and Dallas. Cindy says, Murder, She Wrote! Exclamation point, Murder, She Wrote! Lance Chaffin says, the A-Team, hands down. Jeff Adams loved comedy, so Newhart, Night Court, and Cheers. Channel member Superplex says, Linda Evans had an Egyptian hieroglyphics hairdo. Karen Lee says, Family Ties. I named my daughter Elise after Elise Keaton. Knots Landing was my absolute favorite TV show ever. Yeah, Golden Girls debuted in 85, I believe. But you know what? That's okay. We can be off by a year or so. Kenneth Wilkinson says, I love Dallas. I bought my mom the whole series on DVD. Willie Bowen once again says, A-Team's no good. I don't like it. Let's see. Super Guinea says Moonlighting. Cindy says Family Ties, Dallas, and Knots Landing as well. Let's see. Did Highway to Heaven come out in 84? That's what Melina Long is saying. And yes, the Nintendo would come out a year later. Thanks for pointing that out. Redfish Tech 73. Let's see. Gary Carpenter, spoiler alert on Dallas Bobby Gets Shot. True. Listeners Mate talking about the shows they didn't like. Dallas, Knots Landing, and Dallas. Of course, you're a 9-year-old boy. Probably not your thing. Let's see. Johnny Burnett points out that Charles in Charge premiered on CBS and then later moved on to syndication, but premiered on CBS in 1984. Channel member Tracy Rothmeyer says too many shows, and Julie Evans says Highway to Heaven. Cheers, I don't believe started in 84, but it certainly was a popular show. Ravenscroft 82 asks me which decade do I prefer. Probably not the 80s, truthfully. It would probably either be the 60s or the 70s. All right, I'm going to have to stop there. I'll do channel member. Got to take care of our channel members real quick here. So Music Girl 67 says, I was young, so I was watching shows like Who's the Boss, Mr. Belvedere, Webster, and Charles in Charge. Let's see. Channel member Superplex says The Cosby Show. Let's see. And channel member Anna McCardle points out to Willie Bowen that one person one time did die on the A-Team, General Fulbright. Let's see. Any more comments from channel members about TV shows? I think that's it. I will point out Willie Bowen says An Automan was a pretty darn good show. And Musings of a Madman says Equalizer. All right, we're going to stop there because in just a minute here, we are going to give away a subscription to Remind Magazine. Now, how do we do that? Very simple. You need to put in the, let me see if I can put it on screen here. Hang on a second. Let's go ahead and get this all ready to go. You need to put in the chat hashtag remind. Hashtag remind. It needs to look just like that. Someone has already got their entry in, and I'm going to give folks about a minute or so, maybe even 2 minutes, to put in their hashtag remind. Let me go ahead and go back here. And I'm going to go full screen for just a minute because I'm going to show what we're talking about here. We're talking about this wonderful magazine, Remind Magazine. Now, if you don't win the drawing tonight, if by some crazy reason you don't win, Willie, make sure you get that hashtag in there. It needs to be hashtag reminder. It won't work. There's a killer deal that you can get by clicking on the link in the description section. You just can't get the magazine any cheaper than if you click on that link in the description section. I love this magazine. Oh, look on the back cover. Who are you going to call? They are here to save the world. All right, let's watch a couple of vintage commercials. Then when we get done with the commercials, we're going to come right back and we're going to give away that subscription to Remind Magazine.
War Games, the motion picture, is now a video game for ColecoVision and the Atom computer. War Games, the motion picture, is now the video game where you must prevent the NORAD computer from starting a thermonuclear war. War Games, the motion picture, is now the video game where sector by sector you launch killer satellites, fire ABM missiles, blast enemy subs. But time is running out. War Games, the motion picture, is now the video game where only you can prevent the unthinkable. War Games, exclusively for ColecoVision and the Atom computer.
So I finally get to meet him. He'll be here any minute. You've been keeping him a secret? Oh, come on. Here, hold this. Diet Pepsi does taste better than it used to.
Hard to believe that's 1 calorie.
They improved it.
With NutraSweet. Don't drink it all.
Are those my shoes? No. Here he is.
I'm ready.
I'll probably steal him from you during dinner. Not a chance. Hi, Daddy. Hi.
Taste improved by Diet Pepsi.
All right. We have got 16 entries. I like 1 in 16 odds. Let me go ahead and go over here and click on the giveaway tool. I'm going to click the little draw button, and we're going to see who our winner is tonight. Kenneth Wilkinson. Kenneth, did you win last month? Kenneth, you won last month. I can't give away another subscription to you this month. I am sorry, but we're going to have to draw again. And our winner is Musings of a Madman. That's excellent. Musings, here's what I need you to do. I'm going to go ahead and take this off the screen. And let's go ahead and let me do a little bit of change in here. Yep. Let me double check on this. Now, Kenneth, if you didn't win last month, then we will give out 2 subscriptions this month. But I'm pretty sure, Chris, if that really is your name, that you were my winner last month. And they're not going to allow me to do 2 subscriptions in a row. I should have said, if you haven't won in the last 12 months, please enter the drawing. Because they won't send out 2 to the same address. And I'm sorry if Super Guinea, if you feel like Kenny is getting ripped off. But congrats to Musings of a Madman. And I love the good sportsmanship that I see from a lot of folks. Yeah, Kenneth won last month, which is awesome. I know that he's already got his first copy. And when Kenneth is no longer receiving Remind Magazine, courtesy of the good folks there, then he will definitely be eligible to win again. Let's see here. What I need you to do, Musings of a Madman, is let me see if I have an email address that I can put on the screen. Right here. Boy, it doesn't quite fit on there anymore. It used to fit perfectly, but now look at that. It's yahoo.com. If you go ahead and send me an email to that email address, I'm going to take this off the screen, but of course you can watch the replay later, or you can just quickly write it down. I'm going to take this off the screen. But if you will send me an email with your full name and your physical address, I will forward it on to the good folks over at Remind Magazine, and they will get you set up with an annual subscription to that wonderful publication. Probably my all-time favorite publication. Right up there with TV Guide. Right up there with the old version of TV Guide. Okay. Music Girl 67 says, couldn't Kenneth choose someone else to gift it to? No. It's a good suggestion, but I want everybody to have a fair chance, and he would likely pick someone that, just a friend in the community, and I want everyone to have equal chance. So it's a great suggestion. I'm going to have to think through this. I've never had someone put their name in the drawing before that just had won previously. So I've got to think through the process here, and I'll make sure that before we do the drawing next month, I clearly outline that. But this is actually one of the reasons I quit doing the drawings, is just little predicaments like this, and then people suggesting what I should do. Yeah. But anyway, congratulations to Musing as I'm a Madman. All right. We've gone on way too long about that. It took way too much time. Let's go ahead and play our trivia. We are going to go a little bit over the hour mark, but let's go ahead and play our trivia, and we'll call it a night. All right. Let me go ahead and get things set up here. Get my little timer here. Question number 1. Which of these iconic shows featuring a new kind of detective duo premiered in 1984 and was known for its stylish fashion and use of popular music? I'm going to start the timer now, read the question again, and give you the potential choices. Which of these iconic shows featuring a new kind of detective duo premiered in 1984 and was known for its stylish fashion and use of popular music? Was it A, Cagney and Lacey, B, Miami Vice, C, Hill Street Blues, or D, Remington Still? All right, just a few seconds left on the timer. And the correct answer is, of course, B, Miami Vice. Let's move on to number 2. In what city did mystery writer Jessica Fletcher, the protagonist of Murder, She Wrote, which first aired in 1984, reside? Let me go ahead and start the timer. Was it Cabot Cove, Maine, Twin Peaks, Washington, Hazard County, Georgia, or Sunnydale, California? Again, the question is, in what city did mystery writer Jessica Fletcher, the protagonist of Murder, She Wrote, which first aired in 1984, reside? Was it A, Cabot Cove, Maine, B, Twin Peaks, Washington, C, Hazard County, Georgia, or D, Sunnydale, California? All right, take the timer off the screen, or at least try to take it off the screen. And the correct answer is Cabot Cove, Maine. I actually gave that answer in our little movies video earlier, or our TV show video earlier. 3, the hugely popular sitcom The Cosby Show debuted in 1984. What was the profession of Cliff Huxtable? Timer engaged. Was it A, lawyer, B, architect, C, obstetrician, or D, stockbroker? Again, the question is, the hugely popular sitcom The Cosby Show debuted in 1984. What was the profession of Cliff Huxtable? Was it A, lawyer, B, architect, C, obstetrician, or D, stockbroker? We'll give folks just a few more seconds to enter their answers into the chat or lock them in their noggin, whatever they prefer to do. Correct answer is C, obstetrician, or some of you may have said doctor. Question number 4, the sitcom Night Court also began its long run in 1984. What was the name of the quirky Mel Torme loving judge? Timer engaged. Was it A, Harry Stone, B, Dan Fielding, C, Bull Shannon, or D, Mac Robinson? Question again is the sitcom Night Court, which also began its long run in 1984. What was the name of the quirky Mel Torme loving judge? Was it A, Harry Stone, B, Dan Fielding, C, Bull Shannon, or D, Mac Robinson? Correct answer is A, Harry Stone. And finally, the last question in this little mini quiz tonight. The V miniseries, a science fiction saga about alien visitors, was a major television event in 1984. What were the aliens who appeared human actually? Get the timer going. A, robots, B, reptilians, C, insects, or D, amphibians? The question again is the V miniseries, a science fiction saga about alien visitors, was a major television event in 1984. What were the aliens who appeared human actually? A, robots, B, reptilians, C, insects, or D, amphibians? The correct answer is B, reptilians. All right. Go ahead and take that off the screen. Folks, let me know how you did. What was your score? More importantly, I hope you all had fun with that, but let me know how you did. And I'll put your scores on the screen. All right. Channel member Angela McArdle, 5 of 5. Doll Quick, 5 of 5. Channel member Superplex, 5 of 5. Dave Thomas, 5 of 5. Channel member Tracy Rothmeyers, did I make this too easy? 100%. Good job, everybody, so far. Yeah, so far no one has not gotten them right. Sakina McMurrin, 5 of 5. Commander Kane, a.k.a. Paul R., 5 of 5. Willie Bone got 4 out of 5. Robert Vance got them all. Lister Smith 2 got them all. Redfish Tech 73 got 4 of 5. Kenneth Wilkinson, a.k.a. Chris, got 4 right. Let's see. Brent Heyman got 5 of 5. Gary Carpenter, 5 of 5. Jules got 4 of 5. Yeah, 2 beer. I did give a one away. I actually gave the answer to the Murder, She Wrote one, which I thought was going to be one of the toughest ones. I gave that away in the TV show video. Channel member Karen Lee says 5 of 5. I'm shocked. Musings of a Madman said 5 of 5. And channel member Music Girls 67 says, hot diggity, I got 5 of 5, but I must confess I cheated off Zuper and Gary's paper for the V question. Julie Evans got 5 of 5. Well, it's really not cheating. You're just relying on someone who you trust. It's kind of that phone a friend, right? That's what it's for. So congrats to everyone. Julie, fantastic score for you as well. Oh, man, John McJunkin 0 for 5. But you can play later and put your score in the comments section. And I think I already said Musings of a Madman got 5 of 5. Awesome. We're going to stop there. Folks, hey, thanks for joining me tonight. Congrats again to Musings of a Madman for winning the annual subscription. And it's just been a treat hanging out with all of you for an hour talking about 1984. One of my favorite years for sure, even with the not doing so well in school. There were so many other good things about 1984. It definitely was a highlight in my life. And as I look back, it continues to be so. So thanks for joining me as we reflected and remembered. And with that, I think I'm going to bring my friend Fred Rogers on to sing us on out of here. Take care, everyone. Have a nice night.
You are special.
Click on that thumbnail cause it's time to go. Dave's got the classics, let the memories flow. TV shows and movies that we all hold so dear. On his YouTube channel he's keeping memories near. Dave Sundstrom, bringing back the good stuff, oh yeah.